DSP is a free software, and I'm gonna tell you, if you're going to be doing multi-zones or branch boxes, or once you get past the ported, even if you're doing a ported, you still want to use DSP because it'll keep you out of trouble, meaning it won't let you install the wrong indoor equipment.
Explain what it is that you're talking about.
So DSP is just a design software from Mitsubishi. So you set up your area with the temperatures, right? And then so you can do it 100%, 130% uh, capacity, and then it's just a design software.
Oh, but if you use it, it's like a checks and balances to make sure you're doing stuff
Yeah,
correctly.
yeah. Actually, so if you go over to MyLink Drive, so if you guys aren't familiar, you guys that do Mitsubishi should be familiar with MyLink Drive. That's Mitsubishi's website. You go over there and then click on the software tab. No, actually, if you want to see about DSP, you can go into the tech tips. There's a making a drawing video on tech tips, because of tech tips there's a bunch of just videos. So you find the one that says making a drawing, and it tells you how to use Diamond System Builder.
What's the most common mistake when people are designing stuff without checking it with software?
Well, so everybody thinks, and that's a good question. So everybody, so let's say a ported unit. Let's say they have a multi-story house, 2 story. Let's say it's just 2 stories, main floor upstairs, and so they go by a 4-port system, 4 zones, and they want to try to do both floors with that one multi-ported unit. Well, then they start getting in trouble, because just like air zoning, right? You really don't want to air zone multiple floors, right?
Yeah, yeah, it
Well,
gets a little dicey.
when you start dealing with refrigerant, it gets even worse, because the on a multi-ported unit, it pretty much uses the whole unit as a receiver, right? So that those LEVs are going to be open a little bit, so you're going to be sending refrigerant to those heads, whether they're open or closed, or whether it's calling or not. So you could overheat or overcool a space without realizing that you're going to do it.
But the fans aren't running. It's like a radiant cooling or heating going on
Well,
while
it's
it's happening.
radiant, but in heating, it's especially critical in heating, because once the coil reaches 104 degrees, that fan's going to come on to cool that coil down.
Oh, interesting.
So
Okay.
if you didn't do a load and you've undersized one area and it's running a lot, well, that refrigerant is going throughout the whole system. And if you have a little small area, little small bedroom, um, it's going to overheat that coil in this room that's already satisfied, but that one is a little oversized. And it's going to bring that one on and overheat that area.
Ooh, that's pretty
So
interesting.
what I like to tell guys is, just because you can doesn't mean you should. Right?
Yeah. There's,
Always go ahead.
there's another question, but I'll let you finish your thought first.
So always try to do one system per floor,
Yeah,
one
that's a good
outdoor
rule of
unit,
thumb
one
across the
outdoor unit per
board.
floor. Yeah.
Yeah. Kuiper is saying, can you run heat and AC on different zones, referring to the ported ones versus
No,
box,
no,
branch box, or whatever?
no. You'd have to get into not even with branch box, but even with a branch box system, you still don't want to do multiple floors. You're better off not to do multiple floors.
That's interesting
You
because
get,
people would think that they could do that. That's something that people would say,
yeah,
okay, now I can do this.
I know it is a thought, but the problem with it is they don't realize that there's still refrigerant going through those satisfied zones, and it has to go through it, because it just now when you get into city multi, it's a whole lot. It's different. You get better control.
What's the difference between the two?
So city multi, that's your 3 phase, um, and your LEVs are actually in your indoor units.
Okay. If you want to watch more videos just like this one, click on this playlist right here. If you want to see our brand new video, click right here. If you want to find out more about the great sponsors that make this show happen, click up here. And to join our email list where I notify you when we're going live, click right here.